Greetings, Ron Smalik here with one more reflection in my Surviving Mindcrack Island Experience series. This episode covers Day 15, what I'm calling Day 15. It is the final half of Mindcrack Episode 9, which aired on May 6th. As you know, we just came back from a reward challenge, King of the Ladder, that I won. And this is the immunity challenge behind me. It is an archery course, which I couldn't have been happier. At least some part of me couldn't have been happier with this course, because coming into this game, I would have told you that archery is the thing I wanted to do the most. Also, Mindcrack episode 10 is scheduled to air on May 13th, which we'll cover the final 3. This was the final 4, and I will be doing more reflection videos after that. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. Before I begin, since you last saw me record, I did watch the official episode 9, and the links to these other POVs will be in my description. The official episode 9, particularly the first half, I thought the camera angles, the point of view on the ladder battle was awesome. I've been waiting 2.5 years to see it from some other perspective than my own. And something occurred to me as I watched some of the interviews, and I actually kind of went back and watched a couple of the older videos too. And sort of to bookend what I'm going to say here, I'll note that in a lot of Dyer and Honey's points of views, in their interviews, they talk about this contest in terms of we, as opposed to myself and Lorgon and Vaughn. Sorry, buddy. We all talked about it in terms of I. Now, I'm not saying that Honey and Dyer didn't use I, but none of the rest of us really used we, except when asked a direct question about the red or blue team. So I just found that interesting. I also watched Honey's episode 9 part 1, and again, seeing the ladder battle from her point of view was spectacular. I don't know that I was expecting anything different, because it happened very quick. I really wish I could see it from Dyer's point of view, but that's all right. And last but not least, I was so happy to see Lorgon 111 came out with a behind-the-scenes videos that covered all the way up to episode 9 after he was voted out, and it shows a bunch of stuff in the bedrock box and building statues. It's footage that I didn't keep. Basically, I wasn't sure if it was going to be allowed to be shown, because I know Good wanted to hide a lot of behind the scenes stuff. In fact, in interviews, you don't even see or hear the people interviewing us, and all of that was cut out. You only see my perspective, except for one blooper that I left in. And I'm really glad that Brian and Honey kept some of that stuff, because that probably took up at least 50 or 60% of our 23 hours together, was not spent in these challenges, but was spent behind the scenes, waiting and hanging out. And it's hard. It's really hard for that to come across. And it makes me think about on Survivor how they only come together every 3 days for challenges. What must really be happening behind the scenes. So, and anyway, let's do a quick, before I get into the recap, I want to try this once. I just spent my day running around doing all kinds of stuff. This is the first Minecraft thing I'm recording tonight, so I'm not fresh, if you will. I'm not warmed up in practice, so let's just see what happens here. This spits out the new kind of boat. Oh, this would have been awkward, actually. This would have really been awkward. Oh, where was I even? Oh, whoa. Did I completely miss? Well, I completely missed. I'm so sorry. Look at that. This would have been horrible. I would have already lost the challenge. Look at that. 2 misses. That was a button. Oh, and I can't even tell if I made it. I think I made it. So second boat comes out, and let's see. Oh, I couldn't even get in it. And then it turns me around backwards. That's interesting. Oh, man, the new boats would have been really interesting, actually, in 1.9. And I don't remember why I chose to not go in the boat and why I chose to swim it. I think that slowed me down a little bit. That's a miss. Oh, it wasn't a miss. Holy cow. Okay. Well, I'm doing better now in 2016 than I did in 2013. So this is actually the last footage, not this, but my point of view is actually the last footage that I recorded in this whole challenge. And it's the final 4. We were super tired at this point. And so tired, in fact, that we basically mutinied against doing camp life. We just said, we're not going to go. We're just going to stand here. Let them kill us. We don't care. And then we get to this challenge. And I actually had a 10-second head start on everyone else. I think I did lose some of it during the boat, but I managed to hang on to some of it. Oh, the door's not open. I was like, did I just open the door? And we all had... I love archery, but I've never done one of these corner jumps before. And I had no sense of timing. I was just all physically... I remember just before this, I had won King of the Ladder and pretty much thought, okay, I don't care what happens next. That was a great victory. I'm pretty much done. And there really isn't much to say about this, except that if you watch the official video, you'll see my arrows and Dyer's arrows are way off the target. And you'll also notice that, well, actually, what you won't notice in the official video, but if you look at the timestamps in mine, from the point where I first got to this point right here, to the point where Darkfan wins, it was about 3 minutes. And 3 minutes may not sound like a lot of time, but when you're in this kind of competition and you hear the other guys breathing down your neck and you're trying to get immunity because you think otherwise you're going to be going home, 3 minutes is forever. It's an eternity. I must have done this at least a dozen jumps and just not been able to get the timing down. I don't know if the server lag contributed to it. I mean, I just really couldn't see where I was shooting. I couldn't see where my arrows were landing to even know, like, if my timing was off, if my timing was on, if my aim was off, which obviously it is. It just, you know, that's pretty much it. Darkfan won this one and got immunity. Good job. I remember going into the council, and really after we finished this, there was really no time to pull anyone aside and try to convince anyone of anything. I pretty much knew at that point that there was a friendship, and I almost wasn't even going to try to break it up. Just, it would have been a fruitless effort, to be honest, and probably, I don't know, I could have given a speech, but I don't even know what speech I would have given in the moment. Like, I just couldn't form anything coherent anyway. So I tried to stay positive and just do what I do. And you can see at the end of my point of view, I included a lot of the screenshots of stuff behind the scenes. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, we really did get to see a lot of Mindcrackers, but not really interact with them as much as I was hoping, but we still got to see them. And, you know, I remember thinking that, like, when this airs the week after it occurred, is what I was thinking at the time, that, you know, at least I'd be able to, like, say hi to them or comment to them, and they would recognize my name, and even the ones that had never heard of me. And it felt very honored and special to be part of this. So then at the end of my video, I put a little to be continued with a winky face. And I want to mention that there's two reasons I did this. The first reason is because I was coming back on the jury, so I will be in the next episode. And, whoa. My understanding is that there is going to be a live stream finale after the next episode. Now, I don't know the timing of that compared to the next episode. So I'll be in at least two more quote unquote official productions, and then I'll be doing reflections on each. So that's what the to be continued implies. I had this small hope in the back of my head that Good would have one last twist up his sleeve and let us all onto the server. I just really don't know if that's even something he's considering or not. It's just, it's just a thing. But it doesn't matter because 2.5 years later, things are very different than they were back then. Anyway, I don't want to dwell a lot on that, to be honest with you. But one thing that actually got me excited was the teaser for next week's episode, which has them on the beach kind of looking at what I'll call gravestones with each of our names on it and then trying to say something about each of us. A very Survivor-like thing to do. And I really enjoyed watching that because it's the first, it's not the first footage I haven't seen, but it's actually the first footage since the merge that I haven't seen. And I have no idea what their challenge was. I have absolutely no idea what the challenge is for the final three. So I'm super excited to watch the next episode. You better believe I'm going to have a reflection after that. Now, I've been doing YouTube shoutouts and Twitter shoutouts, and each video it seems like I get a few more people showing up and throwing in their support. I just want to thank everybody. It's been awesome, and it's helped me more than you could really know. This has been so long, and not being a name that probably has appeared in much Mindcrack in a long time. The guys played some of my maps. Chad and Good, I think, were the last to play one of my custom maps. And they were not into it. I haven't, BTC's been gone for a while and he and I have done stuff in person. We've actually hung out, but not been in any video collabs. And a lot of the Mindcrackers that knew me are not Mindcrackers anymore. So I was more of an unknown now than I was when this aired. And so for everyone who did come to my channel, friends and people I hadn't known prior to this, I just want to say thank you. Because, I was really afraid that I was going to be seen as the bad guy. And I was going to get trolled, and I was going to have this influx of people coming and thumbsing down my videos just because they were voting for Dire or Dark or Honey or whatever. Or when I voted out Vaughn, I thought, okay, I'm going to have a whole bunch of people trolling my channel. And that did not happen. I have not gotten a single bit of negative. I've gotten constructive criticism, but I have not gotten any negative reaction from this series, which is so awesome. It's really awesome. So obviously I'm not going to hit this target, and I think it's actually, maybe it's fitting that I don't hit the target here in this video, and I just leave this as one of those things that I'll never actually be able to do. And so I've actually had a final reflection outline written for a long time, and I can finally delete this notepad file that I use for these with all the things that I want to say. I will, of course, like I said, comment on what happens next, but I don't need a notepad file for that because that's just going to be reaction. And so about 24 hours of recording, plus a week anticipation when we got delayed, plus several weeks of waiting beforehand and having this NDA document, this legal binding document that we are not allowed to talk about it. Going through multiple versions of the introduction. Re-editing I re-edited my videos at least 3 times in the past 2.5 years for various reasons. This is where it all started, right here on this beach. And I will say, on a positive note, my absolute proudest moment was the ladder victory. Not just because it was a victory, but because it was something I had never done before, and I just really did good. I mean, I dominated it, basically. And I felt very alive at that moment, and then I felt like everything I came here for was accomplished. It doesn't matter what happens next. It's just such a good feeling. I don't know if it's coming across, but it was super positive. And I'm also very proud of my first early victory with Desi of the parkour, where my team, thanks to me, were the first to get done. And that was awesome. And I think the purest moment, like if you want to really see where the contestants bonded together, it was on this beach back here that I'm heading to now, where we came from different teams, or there was individuals who were fighting to win a contest. But when those mobs started coming out and we were low on food and armor and gear, I mean, we clicked and we worked as a single team, and it was awesome. Like, those moments right there were like, these are people I could hang out with every day. Here's a little spoiler, by the way. This boat is not in this boat is not in the official map that we played on. In fact, I've never actually been over to this boat. Let's see. There's a villager here with a melon. That is funny. I wonder if this was going to be a challenge of some kind, or some lore or something. For a long time, so I needed, as much as I did this contest, and I made it far. I mean, I'm really proud of what happened here, but I really needed to do these reflections. And for 2.5 years, I really dwelled on what I was going to say, and that I needed to get certain things known, certain things about the blue team, the friendship on the blue team, and about my strategy and why I made decisions. And I had all these notes of what I was going to explain in this final reflection video. Final meaning the final one of my own actions. And it turns out that I don't really need to say those things, because they've all been said in the past videos. The Reddit commenters have picked up on things, and it all came out and all came across. And everything turned out pretty good. I'm not at all regretful of anything that happened, which is awesome. For a long time, it was pretty hard. Like, immediately afterwards, it was really hard not to be bitter about specifically about the 3-person friendship. But, you know, I feel like, in a way, I got pretty far past the final 4, which is to say I got to the final 2. Me versus the trio. Now, I know that's like something that sounds like it's what the loser tells himself, right? But I feel like, I mean, I got to the end game. And it was me versus friendship. And at the end of the day, I have to say that I'm glad that friendship held. They didn't turn on each other to this point. They didn't throw each other under the bus. It didn't matter who did what, who was strong, who was weak, who was cunning, who was just having fun, who was whatever. This is a story of friendship. The morale of this whole thing is be true to your friends and don't compromise on your morals. Desi, Lorgon, Vaughn, everybody in this game played a true game and did not compromise. Now, I do remember some conversations that I was part of as part of the jury while the others were off doing their thing in the next episode. I don't have footage of it, but I may talk about that in my next reflection. I do hope that some of you will stay with my channel. And I do hope and appreciate your views. I know a couple of you are watching my Out of the Realm competition, which was inspired by this, but is a sci-fi theme and is got a bit of a different angle to it, but it's really good. And maybe this September, if you're at Minecon and you happen to be wearing your Surviving Mindcrack Island t-shirt, I'd love to come up and say hi and shake your hand, because I'm going to be there and I'm going to be wearing mine. And it would be nice to hear from people who maybe started watching me during this time and are still interested in what I have to do and say in September. Because September, the end of September, will actually be the 3-year anniversary of this contest. And so I was on this island for about 24 hours. And as of right now, that 24 hours stretched into 2 years, 7 months, and 10 days of a project that's just been hanging over me. And it's over. It's all done. So I'm just going to take one last look. This is the last time I'll ever walk in the sand. And look at this water and these trees. And I'm going to walk away with some positive memories.